Okay, hi, welcome everybody who's joining us. My name is Judith Soto, and I'm here with the Better Business Bureau of Central Oklahoma. So today we're going to be having our Value of BBB Accreditation event and presentation. And to begin with, the purpose of this event for us is to share a little bit more about BBB and what we're about, and also about the community that we are striving to build with our businesses. Because the vision of BBB is an ethical marketplace where buyers and sellers trust each other. And our mission in that role is to be the leader in advancing that trust. So in some of the ways that we do that are setting standards for marketplace trust and encouraging and supporting the best practices with our accredited businesses and our consumers on how to meet those standards and work with one another. And another way is calling out and addressing substandard marketplace behavior. So this is a bit what we're most known for, that piece of our mission, which is the complaints and customer reviews. But going beyond that, we really do a whole lot more behind the scenes, and we really striving, and our focus in our BBB of Central Oklahoma really has been gearing more into creating a community with all of our accredited businesses and organizations. And we're trying to do that by celebrating more of the role models that we have. So today we're going to be hearing a little bit more from one of those role models, which is Mike Crandall from Sandler Training. So I'll go ahead and hand it off to you, Mike, and tell us a little bit more about your business and your services.
Yeah, so Judith, thank you for having me on. It's always an honor to do anything we can to support and help the BBB. We've been involved with the BBB, I believe, for somewhere around 8 years. Forgive me, I'm horrible with time frames, so it could be a couple of years off of that. But I have known Kit, who is your president and CEO, even longer than that, and before she joined the BBB. And so, what all of you are doing has just been awesome. But for us, we got involved because of that trust factor. At our organization, we really work with business owners and leaders on leadership development, management development, sales development, and then some subcategories in that. We help with recruiting and hiring. We do coaching, strategic planning, consulting, training around a lot of those different topics. Because we sell an intangible, trust is very important. A lot of people, trust is a little bit different. If I can hold two things side by side, I have a little bit different decision-making process before I do business with someone. But when you sell an intangible like our team and I do, I can't hold anything. And so I really have to know that, is this a trustworthy organization or individual? And because we sell a service-based business, and interestingly enough, a service-based business that nobody has to buy anything that we do. There's lots of things in this world that people have to buy. I have to buy car insurance because the bank makes me, if I'm going to borrow money from them. I have to buy homeowners insurance because the mortgage company makes me. I have to buy food. I have to buy certain things, but there's lots of things that people don't have to buy. And when you're selling something that people don't have to buy and is intangible, trust is huge. There's a phrase that's been around for longer than I've been alive. People do business with those they know, like, trust. And a couple decades ago, that was actually changed to know, like, trust, and value. But the trust in there is crucial. If I don't trust you, why would I want to do business with you? And the BBB has been great for us. And I really want to go to the last bullet point that you had on the thing there about community. I've got a lot of clients that are BBB members, and a lot of them join for different reasons. Everybody has their own thing. And sometimes people are in places or a business where maybe they have those disputes or complaints, and the BBB service around dealing with those is outstanding. That's really not a member benefit that helps us because we never have complaints about our business. But that trust factor and that community. And I think that the team there and you have just done an amazing job of building that community, not just so members of the BBB can get to know each other, but opening the door beyond BBB members so people can get to know people that are BBB members and know who are the ones who have gone through some level of accreditation to become more trustworthy in different things. I've also been extremely impressed because I've seen you guys take action on people that were not adhering to the standards that members had to have. And I've seen you guys, and I gratefully appreciate this, kick people out or revoke their accreditation if they were not being ethical and trustworthy in their business practices. And I know that's a tough conversation to have and probably interesting board meetings when they make those decisions, but I'm so happy that that's something that you guys all do.
I like that you emphasize more so trust, because that truly is a big piece of BBB. I mean, our motto is starting with trust. So I know that you also do a lot of business to business communications. So working with businesses, do you feel like the relationship with trust in marketplace is evolving? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? How do you feel like the relationship is changing over the years?
Yeah, and Judith, I love that question. And I would say that it's absolutely evolving. And here's an observation that we've made over the years. And when I say we, meaning our Sandler organization, I own and operate our office here in Oklahoma, but we're part of a larger organization that actually has a global footprint. And we actually have an entire division called the Sandler Research Center, where we do large research projects. Some of those are public, and then we also get engaged to do lots of private ones. And a lot of those research projects have been on the consumer end of things. Why and how do people make the buying decisions that they do? And what are the factors that matter? And trust is becoming even more important. And what we've seen a lot is that, on some level, trust has always been important, but I would say it's becoming more important because it's so easy to be misled or get bad information. Mm-hmm. Every one of us relies on these in some way, shape, or form. And it's so easy to Google a company and, depending on what they put on their own website, which may or may not be true, or, even maybe they've paid for reviews, which I hate happens, but it happens in the world. I can pay people to leave me good reviews, but that doesn't mean that I'm automatically trustworthy just because I've got good reviews. What we're finding on the consumer side of things is that especially, and this is an interesting thing, since COVID started a year and a half ago, people want a more personal relationship with those they do business with, which means that trust has even been more elevated. If I want to trust my eye doctor, my dentist, my chiropractor, my roofer, my HVAC contractor, my business consultant, if they're working with somebody like me, I've got to make sure that as a business owner, I'm learning what does trust really mean, not just saying I'm trustworthy. By the way, so psychology says if I say trust me, you automatically go, whoa, why are you telling me to trust you? Because just because I say it doesn't mean you should. But the last couple of years have really shown that we want personal relationships, we want trust, but it's not something that everybody's naturally good at because we don't always know what it means to the other person.
I agree. I feel, and actually, I'll go ahead and use that for a leeway to my next slide. Or I guess it's a little bit later. We can go back to trust, but I do feel like that's something that is hard to measure. And we've really tried to champion that in learning how it is, what the things we need to look for on realizing whether a company is reputable or not. But a little bit more about BBB and our background. I want to talk about, first off, who we are and how long we've been here in Oklahoma. So BBB nationally was founded in 1912. So we've been here over 100 years, but in BBB Oklahoma, it was founded in 1930 here in central Oklahoma. So we ourselves are getting real close to our 100-year anniversary. And we serve 54 counties in central and western Oklahoma. There on that map, everything that you see shaded in blue is in our service area. And this is the piece I was referring to. These are our standards of trust that we've created, as in the things that we look for when we're accrediting businesses or whether they can stay accredited with us as well. So the first one is building trust. We hope that they also share that value, just as you might, Crandall, that they are looking to build that trust with all of their consumers and their clients. And the second one is that they advertise honestly. And actually, I didn't share this in the beginning, but I've been with BBB for 4 years now. And before I moved to this department, business services, I was actually working in operations with our ad reviews, which is that really focuses on that piece of our standards. And we review every year different advertisings, either on print, but most popularly on websites of businesses and different claims that they make, such as for their guarantees, warranties, for testimonials that they share, making sure they truly are truthful, which leads to that third standard of telling the truth, whether that be on how they're representing their products and their services, and that if they disclose all material terms that involve them. And being transparent is our standard number 4. And that's a lot more so on the nature and location and the ownership of their businesses, which are all different things that we require of accredited businesses that they have. In our service area, they have to have a location in Oklahoma. They have to have ownership that can be made public. And these are all just so that they can be more transparent with consumers about who they are as a business. And our standard number 5 is that they honor promises. And I think this is a really important one for consumers. And I'm sure you can agree with that, Mike Crandall. They want promises that are made to them, written and verbally, to be reliable. They want to know that all the conversations that they're having with their business is something that they can trust will be fulfilled. And we see that a lot through different customer complaints that we receive in reviews, that often this is one that it starts from here, whether a promise or a statement that was made that was not fulfilled, that did not reach their standards and therefore broke their trust with that business. And then standard number 6 is to be responsive. And that one's also ties in with our complaint and customer reviews. We want all of our accredited businesses to be responsive in a timely manner, that they have that open communication with their customers, that they resolve their disputes quickly, professionally, and in good faith. Standard number 7 is to safeguard privacy. I think as we continue to grow in this technology era, that one grows to be more and more important for consumers. And so we require that our accredited businesses protect any data collected against mishandling and fraud, collecting personal information only as needed. We always make sure that their websites, if they're collecting information, that they have all of the privacy settings needed to keep that safe for the consumers, and that they respect the preferences of consumers regarding the use of their information and how that can be shared. And then standard number 8 is that they embody integrity. And this one kind of just embodies all of the standards overall, that at the end of the day, that businesses will approach all of their dealings and marketplace transactions and commitments with integrity. So that's a little bit of our standards. And I want to talk a little bit more about the resources and services that we provide. So we provide information on businesses and charities, and this is what consumers find most valuable to them, whether being searching on our website, being able to see their ratings, or being able to publicly see if a business has received any complaints and what the nature of those complaints are, being able to call us and ask about a business and look or be able to receive recommendations in their service area of who is accredited and who they can trust. And then we also offer alternative dispute resolution for both businesses and consumers who are trying to seek a third party to resolve their complaints. We offer dispute resolution services for free. And for our accredited businesses, we also offer arbitration. If it ever gets to that point, we do offer those services to our accredited businesses for free as well. And then advertising reviews, I spoke of that a little bit earlier, but we do always review advertising for businesses if they want to make sure that it's according to our code of advertising, which is separate from our standards of trust. This one's a bit more specific on what types of things we recommend businesses to advertise or steer away from. And then aside from that, a little bit more of the funner stuff, we also offer different networking opportunities or training workshops, depending on the need that we see in the community or what interests they have. I know, Mike Crandall, you've hosted one of our trust talks in the past that was shared with me. And I know another recent training workshop that we had, I believe early last year, was over the cannabis business, simply because that's growing so much. And we saw the need to educate more in the community about all of the different legal resources that they have and how to navigate that new industry that Oklahoma is having. And then we also offer consumer tips on our website. We're always releasing new blogs and articles with different things they can take advantage of to either keep their privacy safe or to steer away from scams. We have our BBB scam tracker that's shown in that image there, where consumers can always go in and report a scam, or they can search a business that they're seeing and they don't know much of, and to see if there aren't any scam alerts that are new and under that name. And then we have our events. So this one is more so where I'm working in right now. We have our BYO-BBB happy hour that started this year. It was last year virtually, but in person it started this year, and we're going to have more throughout next year. So these are happy hours that we have once a quarter, and we partner with a different local brewery each time. The last one we had at Vanessa House, and that's the image you can see there. And so this is really just to give businesses an opportunity to come after work and mingle with one another and build those connections. We've really seen, we were talking about community earlier, Mike, and we've really seen that interest grow even more. I think after last year, a lot of businesses are really craving that connection and community. So we are working hard to grow our events department and offer more of those opportunities for them. And this is one that was very popular this year. And then we also have our Big Blue Bash that we have had for, I think, maybe 3 or 4 years now. And we have it every summer, usually in May. It's just at our offices. We open our offices up for our accredited businesses to come and mingle with one another. We have food trucks available, live music, and free alcohol, so it's always a good time for them. And this one is one that's really fun, not only for our businesses to participate in, but our staff always enjoy getting to meet the different businesses that they've been working with throughout the year. I know our sales staff is always really excited to meet businesses that they've been speaking to on the phone and actually meeting them in person and matching a face to the voice. And so that's really exciting for our team to be a part of every year. And then we have our Ambassador Coffee. This one is monthly, and it is our morning session that contrasts against that happy hour. So it's a morning coffee that we have with different businesses. We have multiple locations throughout Oklahoma to try and be more accessible to different businesses, because most of our other events do take place in downtown OKC. So this one we have locations in Edmond, we have some in Norman, in South OKC, and we're trying to open some more up in different locations and continue to grow outwardly to reach different businesses and give people who aren't central here in downtown those opportunities to connect with one another. And the final one, which is my personal favorite because it was brand new this year and I was able to be a part of it, is Revere and a Rebel Conference. So this is our first large scale conference. It was a women's conference specifically for women in business who we just saw that as we were growing these events and we were going out to them, a lot of the people that we saw there were women in business. And so we wanted to take a moment to just honor and celebrate the female leadership in the community and give them an opportunity to feel celebrated and connect with one another and show that there really is that wants to uplift one another in the community. So these are just a bit of the events that we offered that we wanted to highlight for our accredited businesses to engage with if they're looking for those opportunities to connect with one another. And here I have a couple of quotes from some of our accredited businesses. I won't read through them, but I'm going to take a moment just to put it on the screen if you'd like to read through them later. And then I have some more here. And then what does accreditation mean to consumers? So this was a national survey that was done in 2014, 2015, and it showed that 84% of the consumers are familiar with BBB ratings. They are more likely to purchase if a business has a high BBB letter grade. And then 83% who are familiar with the BBB are more likely to purchase when a business displays their accreditation seal. So these are two things that, because BBB has been around so long, are growing more and more familiar with consumers in the community, and that they know to recognize that, and that when they see it, it represents that trust that we were talking about earlier. And these are the different reasons that businesses join. 84% say it's because it builds trust with customers, 83% because it increases credibility with their business, and 69% said that it shows that they care about their customers. And then additional ones I just want to include here on the side, 58 said that it adds prestige to their business, and 51 support BBB's mission of advertising marketplace trust. And the seal that was said so earlier, this is what it symbolizes to buyers. It symbolizes that it is a quality business, that they are honest, that they have a good business standing, and that it has received BBB's approval, and overall that they are just a reliable business that they can trust. And that is the seal displayed there. And people, businesses can display it either on their websites, and they can also receive stickers, decals. And this will, if they put it on their website, it shows their BBB letter grade. It also shows their start date and what today's date. And when you click it, you can go straight to their business profile and review more information about them, such as customer reviews, complaints if they have any. You can see ownership, what their different services offered are, any photos or videos that they upload onto there. And it is important that when you see this seal on a website, that it is a dynamic one. And we do a pretty good job of making sure that there are no violations of our logo being downloaded on Google just with the image. But one of those steps that we use to make sure we're protecting our logo is encouraging businesses to use the dynamic one. That's way, whenever it has all of these traits, you know that it really is an accredited business with us. And aside from the website one, we also encourage businesses, they have all rights to our seal once they become accredited. So anywhere they put their name, they're welcome to put our seal, whether that be a billboard, a business card. A popular one that business use is putting a magnet on their vehicle if they have a service vehicle. And that's a common one that our staff definitely is always saying they see when they drive around, that they're always recognizing the sticker on vehicles all the time when they're just going to a restaurant with their family and they see a truck outside and they're like, oh, that's where I work. So that's a popular one. And here's some frequently asked questions. I think the first question that is a really common question is, how can a company have an A+ rating when there are hundreds of complaints against them? So one of the reasons this is said, we said in the beginning that we have all these different standards that businesses have to be accredited. but they are 16 different factors for the specific rating that is issued. So it goes even more detailed into that, and taking different complaints and customer reviews and licensing and their Secretary of State's registration, all these different things into account when given a specific rating. And one of the reasons sometimes a company can have an A+ rating with hundreds of complaints is the size of the company. And that's another thing that we take into account, the size of the company and how many employees that you have. For example, a small store that has a handful of employees is going to be rated differently than a large nationwide company that has hundreds of thousands of customers a year, and therefore probably going to have hundreds of complaints. And so it's weighted differently depending on the size of the business. And the BBB ratings, what are they? They are a letter scale from A to F, and they represent whether or BBB's opinions on the business. And I already said some of the factors. Some of the common ones that will lower businesses' rating is if they are not licensed or they have not renewed it, if they are not in good standing with their Secretary of State registration, but advertising as an LLC or an incorporation, if they have an advertising review that we saw did not follow our code of advertising, if they have complaints, specifically a pattern of complaints where it's several complaints over the same type of thing, then we see that might not be an issue with a specific customer, but an issue with the business itself. And reviews are also taken in consideration with that. And that's just, that pretty much sums up our presentation with the different services that we BBB offer and resources that we have. And I want you to know, Mike, if you want to chime in, share a little bit more about your business before we wrap.
Yeah, so Judith, thank you. And, for all of you that are watching and listening and taking advantage of this, either new members, welcome, or those that are considering membership, I encourage you to visit with Judith. There's somebody else on the BBB team. The Better Business Bureau has just been wonderful. And Judith, I want to go back to one thing that, we've talked about the word trust an awful lot. Mm-hmm. Trust is a subjective term. And just because I think I'm trustworthy doesn't mean that I'm doing things that make you feel like I'm trustworthy, and vice versa. And that's one of the things that I've seen so many people take away from becoming members and being involved in the BBB is that they learn that trust has different definitions to different people, and making sure that we're doing all the things we can, not just telling people we're trustworthy. It always makes me think of a funny story, and I shared this in one of the trust talks. You guys started doing trust talks about 5 years ago, and you guys have had me deliver one of those every year since you started them. And I shared a story about the subjective definition of trust. And several years ago here in Oklahoma City, there was a roofing company. They were not a BBB member, but they spent a very sizable amount of money on billboards all around town. And the billboard just simply said, "A roofing contractor you can trust." And then it had all their contact info. And in the course of the however long those were up, I probably heard from 120 different business owners saying how offended they were that an organization thought they could just put up billboards to make people trust them. And I didn't go ask for feedback because we also work on trust, but very differently than you do. It was just an interesting dynamic. Mm-hmm. And so I encourage people to really think about, what does trust mean, and do you know how to build it, not just to say you're trustworthy. So I appreciate being a guest in our organization because we work with small to medium-sized privately held businesses and nonprofits. A lot of our clients are members of the BBB and vice versa. And again, our specialty is really working around leadership, management, sales development, customer service, teamwork, communication. I had a client share not too long ago a line that I thought was super powerful. And he said, "Mike, we've been working with your team and you for over a decade now. And what you really help us with is understanding communication, subconscious psychology, and how it leads to trust." We don't help people with advertising or the credibility or the ad reviews and the things that you do, which you guys do an amazing job at, but we help people with exchange of information and communication that helps lead to trust. And I think that's why so many of our clients are BBB members and vice versa. So we love being part of this. I will throw out to any of the people that are watching this as new members or maybe prospective members, if there's anything that I can do or you ever want to visit with me about why we're a member, I'm more than happy to do that.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. It's always exciting for me to meet businesses that are accredited, even virtually, but face to face. I heard a lot about you from Kit and Casey and different staff members, so it's good to finally meet you myself. But yes, to anyone who may be watching this, always reach out to me. My line's always open through my cell or email. I'm always happy to meet either one-on-one with one of you, or just answer any questions that you may have. And if you do have any questions, you can also reach out to BB's general line and be transferred to someone if you have a specific question that doesn't have to do with being an accredited business. So thank you so much for your time, Mike. We're going to go ahead and wrap, but I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I appreciate all you do for the team there and all your organization does for the community.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye, Mike.